Welcome to the Run on True Sports TV. My name is Esfandiar Baraheni, and man, we have an extremely special guest. I've been following this guy's career for a while. When he would make skits about Jamaican moms in his basement. I'm not sure if it was your basement, by the way, but
it was my basement.
It was your basement. Now he has one of the biggest podcasts in Toronto, the Extra Gravy podcast. This is my man, that dude McFly, Marlon Palmer. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good as always. Good as you can be, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as always, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. But, the main reason I reached out to you for this interview is because I feel like with what you do, it's really, really good to have you on for this topic, because your podcast is an intersection of all of this. And what we're going to talk about is going to be an intersection of all of it as well. Most specifically, like, we're going to talk about hip hop and the connection and the intersections between like race, politics, sports, culture, all that stuff. But I think hip hop, and you'll probably agree with this, it's one of the most, if not the most important outlet for creativity, especially with how popular it's grown over the past, let's say 20 years.
Yeah.
So I want to start off with this, and I know it's a topic of conversation for everybody. I've seen you talk about it on Twitter yourself. J. Cole, Snow on the Bluff, NONAME, Song 33. There's a lot of controversy around that. There's a lot of, I guess, a necessary conversation being started about that as well. There's some people saying we should cancel J. Cole, calling him a misogynist, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's people trying to defend him, saying, oh, he was talking about the bigger picture. Where do you stand in all that? Like, where do you pick your side, I guess?
Well, first, it's a distraction. That's first.
Right.
Amongst everything else, it's a distraction. In the same sense of, like, it's not even in the same vein as the NBA. It's a distraction in the sense that, like, it's unfortunate that women have to reach back at a time when we're supposed to be moving forward and kind of spoon feed information to men over this issue. So, like, his entire song was just, first of all, is off of a subtweet, which is weird enough.
Yeah.
Because you don't pick J. Cole to be someone that's insecure. Like, all artists are insecure to an extent, but usually just with their craft, never like with activism and their actual blackness. Like,
right.
Who was questioning J. Cole's role in activism? I know I wasn't. I don't think anybody was.
Yeah.
So for him to take offense to that must mean that, because it should be said that the last time we saw him at protests was before this all happened, right?
He was in North Carolina. Yeah.
And then now it kind of took him a little longer than the last time. So I feel like that's kind of where some of it comes from as well. Like, fans have this ego thing where we feel like artists should do things on our time the way we want them to do it. And he chose when he wanted to go out and protest. And a lot of the people criticizing him have never even gone out. So it's like, it's interesting to see the arguments. The whole crux and angle of his verse, or his song rather, was dumb. He should have never, like, at no point in 2020 can you say, I don't know where to find the information.
Right.
It's just that simple. It'd be different if we're on dial-up internet still. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2020. You're rich as you not only have the ability to go on the internet, you have the ability to get books you want probably quicker than any of us if you really wanted them. You could send someone to the store. You could send someone to make some orders. You can watch movies. You can watch videos. He can speak to people. He can speak to Reverend Al Sharpton. Like, there's so many people he, in his position, can speak with.
Right.
And yet you chose to tell a woman, a black woman, a dark-skinned black woman at that, oh no, watch how you say it.
Right.
Like, you can't tell people who are the most oppressed in society how to hurt and how to express that hurt.
Absolutely. Right.
And I feel like J. Cole, of all people, he's such a smart guy, man. Like, he's such a wise beyond his years.
But then he tried to act stupid in the song. Like, I don't know. You got to help me. You got to walk me through it.
And then afterwards, he tried to act stupid.
Right.
Like, in going on Twitter and saying, I stand by my words, first of all, you sound ignorant. You sound like someone that's not what you said in the song, someone who's willing to learn. If you're standing in your ways, even though people are telling you no,
Right.
it's not okay to be like, I stand by my opinion, and then say, y'all don't even know who I was talking about. And then name the person we were talking about in
Right.
the very next tweet. It's like there's a clone of J. Cole that's just not operating the way J. Cole would normally act. And it's just very
It's like he had that dual personality in his album. It's like it's that guy that's jumping.
The other one, it's the other guy, man.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
You were spot on with the, you know, like everybody's been saying it, and I feel like we've had to say this every week to someone. Like, read the room, like understand where people are at emotionally, you know. And J. Cole didn't do that. Also, like, NONAME smoked him in a minute, like
under a minute. She
like,
just
until
everything he said, because what she did, which was the best thing, I think, was continue to bring up the victims' names. You know what I mean? Continue to say, this is where our focus should be. You know what I mean? And it was very smart on her part, because even in speaking about reading the room, just the day before there was gender wars on the timeline. You know what I mean? Like, people were going at each other for everything. So it's like, for you to now come out and say this, especially with the colorism as a topic right now heavily, and you're a light-skinned man going after a dark-skinned woman, it just looks horrible, bro. And I seen someone say, isn't his mom white? And I was like, okay, all right, now this is good. It's gonna go to another place. It's gonna go to another place that it didn't need to be at.
So, like, okay, so this brings up the conversation of, where do celebrities fit in with all of this? I was just watching a video Andrew Schultz did, where it's like that he was making fun of all the Hollywood celebrities that made that stupid video, right? And it's interesting, because we want celebrities to use their platform, right? We want them to use it for good. But then I'm not sure if you watched it. Did you see the Dave Chappelle special recently? 846, right? So he brought up the whole Don Lemon rant, where he's calling out celebrities, and he made a good point. Who the fuck wants to listen to Ja Rule at this point, right? Who cares, right? But where do celebrities fit in all of this? Like, to what point? What is their use? You know?
I think people need to stop lying to themselves, and I think that whole Ja Rule line, it's funny because of the artist that he used, right? But if you were to use another artist, if you were to say, who the fuck wants to hear what Kendrick has to say at a time like this, I'm pretty sure a couple million people would want to hear it. You know what I mean? So I think people rely on that. Who wants to hear what Ja Rule has to say about this? Because it's the type of artist. Like, if you're gonna substitute someone for Ja Rule right now, it would be, who wants to hear what Trippie Redd has to say about this?
Right.
Who wants to hear what Soulja Boy has to say? You know what I mean? Like, artists that don't perform anything of substance really and advance conversations. So Ja Rule's not someone that's gonna advance the conversation. J. Cole, you want to hear from J. Cole. When I saw that track drop, I was looking for some answers. I was looking for some insight, from some perspective, from someone that usually gives me some good insight and perspective on just being a human being, right? So that is also something that played into the whole, like, fuck J. Cole thing for like a day, because you're, as much as people want to say they don't rely on celebrities, there are some that you do really respect and take their word for it. And even, like, if you want to take it there, FBI in their research back in the day said that public opinion is swayed so much, probably I think it was 60% by the media.
Right.
So we can't pretend like
wild
media doesn't play a part. The media is the reason why you can white girls can look at black men and hypersexualize them, because you go on Pornhub and there's a series called Blacked, and Interracial only has black and white girls, and like, you're just constantly seeing this narrative push. You go on the news, all news should be saying the news the same way. They're not.
No way.
It's the news, and it should not be biased, but you can go on the different news stations and hear what you want to hear from your side of the argument. So, like, we can't keep pretending the media has nothing to do with it. It has almost, especially these days, I would say it's growing to about 80%, because the majority of the time people learn what they learn off social media. They learn it off of the TV, or they learn it off of the internet in some fashion.
Yeah. I mean, look at like Twitter, right? You go on Twitter, you could get your answer for a specific reason. Like if you're a Trump supporter, you could go get a Trump supporter type of answer if you want to.
Exactly.
Right? Like
And Twitter's showing you what you fuck with. They're not
right.
showing you the shit you don't. Unless you're following both sides of the argument, you're not going to see it in your trending topics.
Right.
You don't know that there's probably a hashtag trending somewhere in like deep south or in the middle of America where it's like hangs or against. Like you don't know if that exists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not in those sections. So like, especially when it comes to politics Twitter, like have you ever tweeted something about politics and then now all of a sudden these politic people with sunglasses and the American flag in the back, they just start piling into your, because these people they're searching for that. They're hunting for that, want a reaction from everything. And so we're only seeing one side of the argument. Like we wake up, we go on Twitter, it's our newspaper now, and we're seeing half of the argument. We're not seeing the other half. So
I feel like that's where hip hop fits in though, because hip hop gives you such a like unfiltered, unadulterated truth to like everything. From its inception to even now, right? Like they're gonna give it to you legitimately how everybody feels on the streets, like in person, right?
Hip hop and stand up, I would say.
Okay, I like that. That's true too.
Stand up as well. Like stand up comedians are the last truth tellers. I hear a lot of comedians, especially Andrew Schultz, say that they're the last people that are telling the truth.
Well, I mean, think of Chappelle, right? Like how much truth, even in the past 3 or 4 specials we've got from him. Just no, you're right.
Transparency and honesty.
So going to that, there's the guys you mentioned, like, when there's a Kendrick Lamar, you expect him to say something, or when there's a J. Cole, you want him to say something, right? But we haven't heard anything from Kendrick necessarily. He's been at the protest, but we haven't heard a song or a statement or something like that. Is it fair to criticize these guys, even though we've seen them talk about it in their music, make music videos, do performances?
I feel like it's wrong for us to assume, first of all, that they're not doing anything, because we don't know what's happening. I know if I was rich and I was a celebrity, a lot of times I would do things that and not tell anyone. Things shouldn't be for credit. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like the internet is based in validation. Everyone needs validation for a tweet, for a like, for a picture, you're constantly seeking validation the whole time you're on social media. And so if you're someone that doesn't put value in that, then if you're making moves, I don't see you putting it on social media or doing anything like that. And a song could be looked at the same way as a lot of people are looking at the NBA, as a distraction. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the time for us to dance. You know what I mean? It's not the time for us to sing. It's the time for us to make changes. So it's wrong to assume that people aren't doing anything because we don't know. And I feel like a lot of people, they project because it's what they would do. They would donate and tell everyone, hey, I donated this. Or they would put together classes or save homeless people and record it and do all these things. And Kendrick, the guy who like bought his niece a moderate sedan, the guy who has a nice moderate home, I don't see that guy flaunting what he's done for the Black community. You know what I mean?
Also, it's like it goes to show you,
like they should lead by example, though.
Okay, all right.
Like if you're not, I get not showing everything you do, but I guess going to the protest was showing that, yo, I'm involved. I want you guys to see that I'm involved.
Right. Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
To a certain extent, though, like that goes to show you, like you said, it goes to show you who you are. If you expect that, like, you're gonna go out, like, let's say I was rich or you were rich and famous, and I mean, you got some. No, but like let's say you go out there and you want to, do a video that says, oh, I just donated to charity, blah 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 blah, right? That kind of goes to show you what kind of person you are, not the expectation you're putting on the celebrity, because they could be doing something in the background.
It's like how you do it as well. How you do it is everything, because if you're doing a video and you're like, hey guys, so I'm gonna be doing this now, as opposed to someone catching you on video or a friend of yours just like happened to see you on video.
You know what bothers me? The guys who will, like, they'll go to a gas station and they'll be like, all right, bro, here you go, to the homeless guy, and literally filming the video, Like, here you go, bro. Here's
Yeah.
the enjoy your day. Like,
And
fam, you didn't need to film that, right?
So weird. So
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
And I think people forget too that there's multiple front lines now. Like, you don't necessarily have to go to the protest to make changes. You know what I mean? Like, I that was definitely more useful boycotts and petitions in like the earlier days.
Right.
Now you can petition, you can riot or loot or whatever you want to do, but you could also make changes online, like by leading conversation or posting these petitions, posting these GoFundMe's and everything like that.
Right.
Spreading information about defunding police, disrespect against Black women,
Right.
the treatment of Black people in white spaces. Like, there's so many different ways for you to be a voice now that I don't think it's right for anyone to critique how anyone's doing it, as long as they're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like yesterday on Twitter, and I'll be real with you, like a lot of the education system in Canada, you'll know it as well, didn't teach us a lot of the shit we're hearing now. Not whatsoever, like at all, right?
Yeah, no.
I just
learned about hockey being Black in Canada.
Yeah.
And we've learned about hockey when we were in school. We've heard the stories.
Right.
And they always called them the immigrants. They never gave them a face. They would say the immigrants added to the game and never even said invented and created how the game is played.
Literally.
Like white people used to play hockey like golf. That's essentially how it began. It's the same thing as golf, same idea as golf, but because we have so many winter months and we can't play golf, let's just do it on ice.
Right.
They're standing still and hitting the ball, and that was it.
That's wild.
So they saw the Black people, 4 Black families in Nova Scotia that put together a hockey league between each other and would play, and people would come and watch.
Right.
Papers and everything. Like it's nuts. It feels like a conspiracy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, yesterday I saw a thread of how Canada, actually, like Toronto in general, was this hub for the Confederacy. I don't know if you know the same thing.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind though. Like
it's on Front Street. Like,
like the name Genesee.
Jarvis is named after a slave master. Like,
right.
We need some changes. Vaughn, same thing with Vaughn. Like, there's a lot, man. There's a lot that this country, not even this city, this country is hiding, yo.
Yeah.
And I get why. I completely understand why. Because the image of Canada really, I don't want to say it's a lie, because it helps in thinking that and keeping this, we're perfect image. A lot of things could go really south if we were to be like, we're pieces of shit too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if people had that mentality, but you come to Canada and you're like, this is a safe place, this is a nice place, I'm going to be safe, I'm going to be nice. Obviously, some people are not everyone is like that, but
for real.
I think that narrative definitely helps us in the long run.
I've said this before on a couple of the basketball podcasts that we've done, but it's like Canada is quiet racism. Like, they're not going to be in your face about it. They're not yelling. They're not holding a Confederate flag out there. But it's like when you're in the checkout line and she's like double checking, you know what I mean? I know, like, even me, I'm Middle Eastern and I still get looks and stuff like that. It's nothing compared to what a Black man experiences 100%, but it still happens to immigrants everywhere, right?
Definitely.
They
also, like, at Chinese restaurants, I remember being sat as close to the kitchen and as far away from the door as possible. Like, almost every time I've gone in, like, because at first I'm like, I'm just doing the whole race card thing. Like, but then I just would memorize it. And just every time I'd go out, I would see where I'm placed. And I'd book it every time. And I'm like, they think I'm going to, like, eat this food and just run out.
Run away, right, yeah.
It happens in so many different places every day. Like, the microaggressions, it's crazy, man.
This whole conversation, though, can be switched from hip-hop to sports, because I feel like hip-hop artists, celebrities, especially like guys like Kendrick and J. Cole, like they have this onus. They have this thing where it's like, you have to talk about this, right? But then you look at sports and there's guys, actually sports in general, where it's like, oh, we don't talk about politics, right? We don't talk about keep politics out of sports. This is just for fun, entertainment purposes. But then you have guys like Jackie Robinson, Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Colin Kaepernick, LeBron, guys who have said, screw that.
Yeah.
Forget it, right? Why do you think there's a difference in, I guess, sports and the way people look at it as like a distraction and an escape and et cetera versus music where it's not so much?
Well, I think first of all, the paycheck. Check plays a big part because athletes are making significantly more money in a quicker amount of time. Right. And at the same token, you have sports have always they've always tried to keep players not human, if that makes sense. Like, this is what I do, this is all I talk about, this is all I do. You know what I mean?
Especially like hockey, like those guys are they're computers.
They want nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
they want nothing to do with it. And like you have the NFL where that was the same type of deal, like bunch of drones, nobody wants to speak up or speak out.
Yeah.
And it always just takes one person. Like even in the NBA, I can't remember who was the first one to really speak out on things, but the NBA they recognize the value in humanizing their players.
Right?
Like LeBron, aside from being one of the best athletes ever, he's a family man. He's a husband. He's a great dad, and he does this. He builds schools and brings his friends along, and he's got the same friends since high school. Like they give you a good story. Football. When I watch football documentaries, it's always, he was in football from when he was 7 years old. And then they show him football playing high school, and they show him football in college, and then they show him football NFL.
Don't forget the one tragedy. They got to add one tragedy in there.
One tragedy until his father died, and he wanted to play anymore. And like, it's always just one track. They never really try to go outside of that.
Right.
And I feel like what Kaepernick did was amazing. That sparked something in people, especially athletes, because now you're seeing some of the top players in the NFL, and that's one thing that they need to realize is they're starting to realize their power.
Right.
They at the whole time, for so long, we've acted like owners are the ones that have the power and coaches have the power. The players have the power. They're the ones we come to see. Ain't nobody coming to see Jerry West.
Nope.
Ain't nobody coming to see Masai Ujiri. I'm sorry. But like, we're here to see the players, and without them, it's nothing. So that's why you're seeing a player like Kyrie in the group chat saying, "Yo, we should start our own league."
Right. And
I don't blame him for that. They should have been thinking like that forever. Like, if you had an NBA filled with white players, which it's basically just going to be the Euro League,
right?
And the Euro League is not pulling in the same type of numbers as the NBA. If all these black players said, "Yo, fuck the NBA," they could do that. And I think Adam Silver knows that. I think, what's his name? Roger Gooden.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think he knows that. Yeah. And they recognize it because the NFL, look how long they've been dissing Kaepernick.
Yeah. It's been, 5 years now, and they've been blackballing him ever since.
All of a sudden it's, I'm so sorry. We apologize. You guys should speak up, man. Like,
yeah.
It's a leverage thing. Once you realize your power, you can leverage whatever you want.
So I'll ask you this: like, there's been moments in history where these guys have used their platform in sports to make a stance, and it's been extremely powerful. Like, if you think like the Olympics in '68 when they had the fists up, that was extremely powerful. Again, like Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Colin Kaepernick now. Like, those have been impactful moments. People just, like, you can just think of that off the top of your head, right? So then what's we know that sports is a distraction, that NBA, when it comes back, it's going to be a distraction. But if they actually did something that would be just as powerful, if I don't know what you could do. Do you think
it's too set up? It's too set up.
Okay, fair. It's too planned out.
Yeah, it's like you're anticipating them to do something. Whereas Kaepernick was like, "Yo, did that Did he just kneel down?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like those moments, all those moments you spoke of were impromptu moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fist was planned, but amongst them. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was public knowledge that he was gonna go up there and put up the fist. Because if that was the case, that stadium would have been filled with Black Panthers. They would have been ready. You know what I mean? Like, so I think those moments you can't manufacture them. They gotta it's gotta be a feeling that you have, that you go with, and that you don't announce, because it's actually kind of scary what you're about to do.
Right.
I don't think there's anything scary or heroic the NBA players could do at this point, aside other than going onto the court and standing there.
Right.
Because they said, we're not playing.
Yeah.
That's the only way, because that is something no one would expect. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going back and you're doing practices and warm-ups and all that stuff, and then you go out there and everybody's like, everybody just be like, yo, what the fuck is going on? That's gonna make the news everywhere. It'll make, if they have a message like, say, like, I don't know, they take off their jerseys and every man has "I can't breathe" tatted on their chest. I don't know, like
right.
Yeah, it would be something that would spread amongst the world for sure. But it's difficult to manufacture those moments.
No, that's fair. That's fair, and it has to be a level of authentic. Like it has to be real.
Yeah,
you touched on that. I think a lot of unfair criticism has fallen on Kyrie and what he's talked about, and I just feel like at this point, for every reason, Kyrie has become like the piñata of the NBA. Something's wrong, all right, blame Kyrie. And
he brought a lot of that on himself.
Yeah, I know he did. He did. You're right. But like in this situation, he's 100% right.
He's 100% right, but he's going against the establishment.
Right.
So it's like, no matter what, they're gonna paint him as the villain because he's going up against them. So Adam Silver makes that call. Hey, yo, Woj, talk about that. Don't let him sleep. Like, hey, yo, Kendrick, get on that boy ass. Like, I don't want to see this anymore. And it's hard for the NBA to win behind the scenes when his argument is rooted in something we're all fighting for.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very hard to paint Kyrie in a dark light when he represents the voice of the people right now.
Right.
A majority of people don't want the NBA back.
Yeah. I mean, even outside of everything that's happening right now, COVID-19, literally the cases that are happening in Florida is nuts. Like, if I was an NBA player right now, I'd be like, nah, fam, you can keep that championship.
I'm not going there. Florida, of all places, you decided to keep it.
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Like, even, let's just take COVID out of it.
Yeah.
Florida, like, that's crazy.
This is a place where if you were to search up your birthday with the name Florida, you could find something crazy that happened.
You could find a serial killer that was born on the same day as you, for sure.
Probably. Let me tie it all back to this then, because we've talked about music, we've talked about sports a little bit, but there's always this discussion where, like, hip-hop artists want to be athletes want to be hip-hop, right? There's that classic Drake line where it's like, I swear sports and music are so synonymous because we want to be them and they want to be us. Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think that whole intersection has been?
Well, majority of artists are short.
Okay.
They're very small guys.
That's fair.
They're not the most athletic guys, but I know that they probably grew up with a lot of guys that are, and they wanted to be that. A lot of athletic guys aren't creative. So it's like they're constantly wanting something that they have. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, at the same time, with artists, athletes, I feel like they see the lifestyle that rappers and certain artists live, and they kind of want it all the way through, because they can imitate it or duplicate it. They have the money to, but it's not the same unless they have a track out and they're in the club and they can hear their track. You know what I mean? Like, they see the artists in the booth on the other side turning up their songs on. All the girls are flooding their booth. Like, it's different. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting. I think it's just an envy thing on both sides of their talent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like they want to be in that position because they're so good at something else, but like want to be successful at the
yeah, for sure. And if you're an artist, you definitely want some athlete money.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's fair to say that all of it is deeply rooted together. Like if you think of hip hop, if you think of basketball, and even more specifically racism and systemic racism, they're all deeply rooted together. I mean, think of like David Stern banning certain clothes because of Allen Iverson, right?
Yep.
Or Mahmoud Abdul Rauf with the protests in the 90s, right? LeBron James and the I Can't Breathe shirts, right? There's so much that's rooted together. I just feel like Kyrie could be slotted into that as well. Would you agree or disagree?
I think it would depend on what happens moving forward. If the NBA says, you know what, fuck it, we're not gonna do it, and it's because of Kyrie's, like if he was the catalyst of that, then that's his contribution. If players decide to boycott the NBA and create their own league, that's I think you could attribute that to Kyrie's contribution. And like, he's always been the flat earther and the guy that just says very, very odd things.
Yep.
So I think for him to be making some sense right now,
it's just like it's like the wrong person to say the right thing.
Yeah, it's like if LeBron was saying all of this,
right,
there would not even the NBA wouldn't even be uttered again. They would not have the league start up again or any of that. It's the fact that LeBron's backing the league starting back up is where you have that problem, because it's a bunch of players that feel the same way Kyrie. It's not just Kyrie. It's a bunch of players that feel that way.
Yeah.
And you have LeBron on the other side, and he runs the NBA. He's the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until Zion is here for another couple years, LeBron is that guy for now. So it's like,
you're saying Zion's the next, eh? I would love that.
They're setting that young man up for greatness, and I don't blame him. I want him to be great too. Like, you need the player to also have that thing, and I think he does. Like you saw that first game where he exploded, and you're just like, yo, like this is a big guy doing this too. Like, it's not even like he's just. And just seeing him, like, little things, him bodying the fuck out of Steve Adams, like, nuts, absolutely nuts to me. And he's a child. Like, he's a child.
20, right? Yeah.
So it's like his ceiling is very high, especially, like, once he gets money, gets a trainer, and, like, puts in some serious work on his body, he's going to be a monster.
Yeah, I hope the knees hold up, man. That's the only thing.
I think he'll be fine. Everybody keeps saying that. I think he'll be fine. Like, he grew up with these knees.
Yeah.
This weight isn't new to him. He's great. It's not like it would be different if he went from super skinny to just what he is now. But we saw in high school, this guy was not normal. Like, his size has always been a problem for all of his opponents. And so, like, I feel like his knees will be fine. I think, like, especially when you have that much money, you can find out what you need to eat, constant checkups. I don't even know how these guys get injured.
Right. Bro, LeBron spends 1.5 million on his body every year.
And how many times has he gotten injured?
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, these guys don't want to do the work. That's why they get injured. Like, it's obviously sometimes it's freak accidents. We get that. But there's a lot of these guys that are constantly injured that don't do anything to combat that. You're not getting a trainer. You're not getting a dietitian. You're not doing yoga. Like, there's so many different things that can benefit you, and you have the resources to do that. If I was rich, I'd be made of adamantium, steel. All right? Do you understand? I'd be Wolverine by now. I would repair on site.
I got you. You'd be like that. I got a Deadpool thing up here. You just be bounce back.
Easy. What? I'd have superfoods. Like,
right.
no one's touching me.
Trust me, man. Trust me. Especially 1.5 million on your body.
And you have a chef. And you have a chef.
Right.
That makes you food whenever you need
like
it.
$35 at the gym every month. That's all I got, you know? Like.
And have you seen some of the stuff he does in that training?
Mm-hmm.
It is nuts. He has this one long metal rod that like he kneels two knees on the big bouncy ball.
Right.
So he's just balancing on it, and it's all core. And he holds the metal rod in front of him, presses this button, and both ends just start waving like crazy. And he has to maintain his core on that thing and stay still.
That's wild.
And he doesn't move. He's just there like, this is wild, man.
Damn. I mean, yeah, now that you put it that way, I guess like Zion's gonna be fine.
I think he'll be fine, man.
Like they made 22 trips for him. Let's not get it twisted. They didn't want the Washington Wizards in here.
Yeah, no, definitely not. They gave him a chance. They're like, what, 8? How many games out are they?
No, I think they're only like 3 or 4 games.
3 or 4 games out, right? And it's like 9 games for playoffs. Yeah, see, look at that. That's setting them up for success. You're gonna watch the fouls calls are gonna be tight.
Yeah, absolutely. Ref's gonna swallow their whistle at that point.
Oh man, it's gonna be murder. It's gonna be real bad. I'm excited for them to get him in though. So there's this excitement aspect. Like look, we just went off on a tangent and talked about ball, right? Like there's the excitement versus the distraction, right? Final answer, I guess, in a sense, with this is: do you think sports can serve as a platform and as a distraction, or is it always one or the other? I think it can serve as a platform, but I think more often than not, people receive it as a distraction. So even if the players are trying their very hardest, they got commercials, they got T-shirts in the layup line, they do a video tribute to George Floyd at the start. It doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, you're going to dunk the ball at some point, and people are going to cheer for it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're going to cross someone, and people are going to cheer for it, and they're not going to be thinking about what's going on.
That's right.
But at that same token, during this entire time, I've looked for distractions, man. Like sometimes you need it to get out of this headspace. It is debilitating stuff that's going on online right now.
Absolutely.
And, like when Insecure came on once a week and everybody is watching on the timeline, it was like yesterday they did the John Legend Alicia Keys battle. And I remember the minute it ended, my immediate thought was, all right, back to hell. I swear to you. That was the first thought was, okay, back to hell we go. And it was just fire and brimstone all over the timeline all over again. So at the same token, we kind of need some distraction. You know what I mean? Like, it's not healthy for us to be putting all this information, looking at all this trauma over and over again, regurgitated and repurposed. It's just a lot. You know what I mean? So
we were talking about it earlier with like social media being not like the fountain of youth, or like the knowledge, whatever you want to call it. But like there's a negative side to it as well. There's this huge negative side to it, which causes insecurity. And we talked about it with J. Cole, how he became insecure over a subtweet, right? Like there's lengths that education can provide us. And, you know, we talked about learning in school, like how that hasn't helped us at all, but we've learned so much from just scrolling through Twitter, right? Access of information is a big part of this, like having access to that certain information.
Yep.
You think because we have that access, the change that we can implement now versus the change we could have implemented or have even implemented 30, 40 years ago is going to be completely different?
Yeah, because you can see it's only going to be different if people really look up the history. Because once you look up your history, you can find out how many times we've been at this exact point in history over and over again. And what was put in place to deter that? What was put in place to stop it later on? What quelled those fires later on? Like, how do you keep something like this going? Like, I see people, for example, putting how long the Mississippi boycotts went on. And people putting, oh, like, yo, guys, it's been 24 days or 36 days. This riot or this protest was 200 and something days. We got a long way to go. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering how it phases out, because, like, First of all, especially in Canada, it's in wintertime, you can't protest.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
No way.
You're not protesting in the wintertime. So that's one faction that you visibly are not seeing anymore, from here at least, and for a large part of America as well. So there's that. Then you have Christmas. Then you have Halloween. There's so many.
The election, literally, the election's gonna.
It's gonna get even weirder.
Right.
Like things are really weird right now. It's just gonna get even more weird. We're seeing COVID numbers rise back up, like almost around the world. So I don't know, man. Life is really weird right now.
2020.
I could have never seen this coming, man. This is the weirdest year of all time.
I feel like everything bad that's supposed to happen in a decade is happening in a year.
Yeah.
But I also feel like that is rooted in social media. Mm-hmm. Like, we see things so quickly now that literally time is as quick as we're seeing it.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me about something that happened in February, and I'm like, oh, man, that felt like 3 years ago that you're telling me this. Like,
absolutely, man. Yeah.
Some shit that happened in February, I'm like
Australia was burning in January.
Like, Kobe died this year.
Yeah.
It feels like he died when Nipsey died. Like, it doesn't even feel like he died this year. It's absolutely nuts.
Oh, man, it feels so long since Nipsey died. Oh, my God. Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. When it hits you like that,
it's wild out here right now.
I want to talk about representation, more so on the exec level, because this is something that I think basketball and music share. Where, okay, listen to me here, right? There's black representation on the court, on the field, on the pitch, whatever you want to call it, and your executives, your label executives, your presidents of basketball teams, your GMs, they're all mostly white. They're all mostly people that aren't even immigrants. They're not even immigrants. Like, they're not even black people. There's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Music is the same. Basketball is the same. How can we stop that? How can we combat that? How can that change?
People got to be willing to give up power. It's the same thing on a micro level with everything else. Like, there are people that just work in office jobs where it's predominantly white, or it's in any level of anything. There are so many areas like that where it's just predominantly white. And people really have to be able to say, all right, yo, take this. Like, you know what I mean? And that is the most difficult thing, is relinquishing some of your power, because that's why you see pushbacks from racists when it comes to black people. And even when you see pushback from men when it comes to women, it's a I have this thing right now, and now I'm supposed to share it. What does that look like for me? Do I get to still be this person that I am? I have to change everything I am? Like, and it's just scary for people. People are lazy on top of that. They don't want to do the work. And they're very complacent. And they know that if they don't do any work, they get to sit pretty in the whatever space that they're in. And so, like, the hardest part is getting people to relinquish the power, the perceived power they think they have. And
do you think that right there, what you said, is kind of like what defines people who say all lives matter?
Yeah, definitely, because that argument is used to kind of say we all have the same privilege. You're basically saying that you don't have any more privilege than anyone else, which, if you're saying that, it's a complete lie if you're white. And I think also people just they don't know what privilege means. They think it means money every time. They think it means they had an easy life growing up. No, it just means you had an easier life.
Right.
Even if your life was as a white person, even if your life was super, you have to look at that and say, wow, black people have it even harder than that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I know it's hard to wrap your head around, but that is just what it is. You know what I mean? Regardless of whatever you think. I've always said this. the any white person I see that's homeless, I can't have respect for you. I'm sorry, you had too much opportunities.
Fair. Fair.
You had too much opportunities. I respect an immigrant homeless person way more than a white homeless person.
Right.
Because regardless, there's, for example, I know so many white people that have gotten jobs, have gotten positions, and are making good money just because they know someone that works.
Fine.
Just because their friend owns the business.
Right.
Just because their family works it. Like it's constantly this friendship thing that keeps them afloat. Like it's very hard for white people to have that of a life, in my opinion, given what I've seen. I can't go based on what anybody else has seen, but given what I've seen, man, it's hard for me to believe you had no chance.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, that's actually a pretty good point, realistically.
Like, it's tough.
Okay, let's transition to some quick hitters around basketball and hip hop. Like I said, this is kind of the intersection that we've been talking about the entire time. Who is the greatest hooper turned rapper, and then vice versa? Who is the greatest rapper turned hooper?
Greatest hooper turned rapper is Damian Lillard.
Okay.
Best rapper turned hooper is Master P.
Thank you very much. Okay. That's the answer I want.
Master P. Like he had the best shot. He had the best shot out of any rapper or artist that you could.
Right.
Hey, who else had a tryout? Who
I'm
else had a
glad
10-day contract?
I'm glad you didn't say Quavo.
Yeah, no way. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I can beat Quavo. That's not a no way. That's not a chance.
Putting you on the spot here, but what is your favorite basketball related bar?
Bar?
Yeah, like just reverse or bar. Like, okay, I'll give you some examples. Like Ice Cube.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like Ice Cube. It was a good day. He got the triple double, right?
Yeah. Hold on.
Take your time.
What's that Iverson line? I might cross you one way.
Oh,
checks off your Nikes or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? In basketball, the remix with Bow Wow. He had like that whole verse. He was just in his bag. I remember when he said Vince Carter's name and T-Mac. I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, I was so amped because like those are little wins for a Toronto person. Like,
yeah, man.
Hearing Raptors or anything. I remember the first time I heard the DeRozan's name in a track. I was like,
right.
what's happening? Like,
yeah,
it's wild. So like, there's that, and there's definitely Popcorn. Popcorn has a line about Kawhi.
Does he?
Yeah, I'll take the shot like Kawhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, put on your producer hat on. I know you've done commercials. I know you've been acting back with it. Put your producer hat on. Okay. If you had to pair one artist and one basketball player for a commercial, what would they be selling, and what would the commercial look like?
One basketball player selling something.
Yeah.
And one artist.
Yeah.
Like
you know how we had Spike and Jordan a while back?
Yeah. I would have. What's that guy's name again? Oh man, what is his name again? The guy goes, little whore. What's that guy's name again? No, I gotta find his name now. I'm sorry, I gotta find his name.
Do you think, bro? I gotta find his name.
Black Youngster. That's his name.
Okay. I got you. All right.
Black Youngster.
Okay, all right.
And I gotta pair him up with someone who's a saint. Who's a saint in the NBA? Malcolm Brogdon.
Right.
I put him with something like that, like something where it's like there's a heavy contrast. You know what I mean?
So what are they selling?
They're selling condoms. selling some Trojan condoms. That would be amazing. Malcolm Brogdon selling condoms is hilarious.
Just with a straight face, he opens up.
Yeah. You have tons of styles. Like you can see, even his voice is so boring. It would be perfect.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one. Okay, if you had to pick one hip hop artist to put on an NBA team, maybe even for the comeback that's happening soon, what artist would it be?
One hip hop artist. It's got to be hip hop.
No, it doesn't matter. No.
Doesn't matter?
No. Pick one.
Adam Sandler.
Okay, all right.
Adam Sandler can shoot the lights out. Yo, his shot is nice. And he can pass. He can pass.
Okay, I like that. What team are you putting him on then?
Put him on New York. Yeah, I'd put him on the Knicks.
Put him on the Knicks? I got you.
See because there'd be such a spotlight on him. We'd get to see every game. Like,
right.
It would be good.
I'll let you do your thing. I'm gonna literally just say 2 words, and you can just say whatever you want. The Toronto Raptors.
Champions.
My guy. Thank you very much. Next. Okay. All right. I want to go in on your career a little bit. We can finish off with this. You know, like I said, I've been following you since you were making skits. You went into doing some acting and commercials as well. You know, you've created your own podcast. I just saw that you interviewed Timothy De La Ghetto, who actually changed his name recently.
Yeah.
And supposedly Beanie Man as well. I'm looking forward to that.
That's coming out soon.
Yes, looking forward to it. And it's been great to watch you grow, bro. It really has been great to watch you grow, just because, you know, you're a guy from the city that kind of makes it all seem real, you know what I mean, and believable in a sense, where it's like, oh, shit, you know, anybody, I could do that. This guy can, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of work.
That's what's up.
But I wanted to ask you, what is the end goal? Like, the end goal? Where do you see yourself, or what kind of life do you envision yourself, let's say 5-10 years from now?
Just doing what I want to creatively. Right now it's all about building up the finances to be able to do so.
Right.
And I'm trying to just like focus on one thing because I constantly have my hand in many hats.
Right.
So like just trying to focus and hone in on one thing, which is the podcast. And growing that, because I know that there's so many opportunities for other things once I get to that position. I just want to be comfy. Like, that's it.
I got
I don't care to be the richest person or the coolest guy. I just want to be comfy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's a struggle to be the guy who is a jack of all trades. Like I do interviews, I do podcasts and stuff like that as well. But my passion is acting. Like I love acting, and I'm in sports media.
Yeah, same.
It's like it's really, really tough because you don't know what to focus on every time.
Yeah.
But you know that the most successful people focused on one thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's a battle.
It's always a battle because like you don't know, especially you can't quantify what you're better at. You know what I mean? Like, especially if people are saying, hey, you're good at this over here. And then they're going, hey, you're good at this over here. Same tone, same everything. Like, you know what I mean? There's no way to be like, okay, I'm better at this, so I'll do this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing podcasts, I'm doing stand-up, I'm doing acting, I'm mentoring. Like, there's so many different things that we can do. And just finding one thing, I think, at first, and then being able to branch out afterwards is, like, just the main goal.
Yeah, that's fair. Any closing remarks, anything you want to end off with?
I host a podcast called Extra Gravy every Wednesday. Make sure you guys check that out. We also do bonus podcasts on our Patreon. And quarantine sucks, so yeah.
Yeah. That's a good sum up. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, I appreciate you, man. You got something. Again, there's a bucket list right behind you somewhere. We'll just go check mark it right now.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you. Everybody, thank you for listening on True Sports TV. Big shout out to Marlon Palmer.